Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendit's Weather Channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the three main models, the GFS, the GEM and the ECMWF. We're going to be taking a look at the week/2 week forecast with the GFS and the 10-day forecast with the GEM and the ECMWF. So from the outset we are starting to bring down a northerly wind as the thunderstorms and wet weather clears away to the east at the moment. And we are beginning to bring down a cool northeasterly for a time, which isn't going to be anything miraculous. It's just going to bring the temperatures down a little bit. It's still above average, but as you can below average, sorry. But as you can see, that the warm weather now is moving away, being replaced by blue as the northerlies move in. There is a low pressure system moving from west to east as it slides along the jet stream, and as it sinks eastwards, it allows this cooler northeasterly flow to come down. Temperatures are below average, see 4 to 6 degrees below average around Friday as it moves in. Stays around for not very long, only about a day or so. As this little ridge builds over the top, that'll bring maybe a cold night for Friday night, Saturday morning. As that clears, we are back into the westerly pattern. On this run anyway, the low pressure system on Monday dives through the middle of the country, bringing wet and windy weather to most likely the central parts, in case of the Midlands on this run, but obviously could be shifted north or south as we go along. Then the westerlies continue. Slight interludes with low pressure systems to the north, bringing wet and windy weather for Scotland. Winds are generally in from the west. I'd expect temperatures to be around average with this, and this pattern sort of continues where highs build in for a time before lows start gathering, and at the end of the run, which is a long way out and very uncertain, 9th of October, high pressure is beginning to ridge up to the west of the UK, into the Atlantic, and this low pressure system here looks very, very aggressive. That must be from like a named storm or a hurricane from America, but yeah, so at the moment on this run anyway, we are starting to bring down cooler winds from the northwest in the middle of October, and if you look at the run overall, it's kind of interlude in between. It's kind of cool and warm interlude as the westerlies move in and the low pressure systems dive through. So overall, a pretty mixed start to October if this run is correct, with interludes of warmer and drier and also cooler and wetter. Now let's move on to the GEM, which is probably the least favoured model at the moment as it is. So obviously there's the cooler northeasterlies moving in, and then the low pressure dives through, clears. This could be quite wet to be fair for southern England, I'd say. Could even be a little bit of snow in over the Scottish mountains, but I'm not ruling anything out at this stage. If you look at the upper air temps, they're not particularly that cold. Maybe the -5 grace of Scotland, but yeah, there's this northerly sets in, doesn't last long. This ridge builds in from the west, settling things down. Obviously, it does bring up a slight southwesterly flow, but it doesn't last for very long. But it could cause an increase in temperature. And obviously, there's this low pressure system. It's slightly more north, so more northern England and Scotland would be affected by this. If it was this deep, there could be some strong winds up to 40 miles an hour gusts. But obviously, it sticks around the country due to the position of the high pressure on this run. The high pressure is still sitting around Greenland, which allows this low to sink around the country before eventually getting cleared away, and the high topples, which brings an end to this. There is still a little bit of cold for Scotland though on this. But I must say, I had a look at the runs, and I'll show you later on the diagrams that this is an extremely anomalous run with temps below average. No other run is really showing, but a lot of the runs are showing on the GFS models anyway a slight cooler interlude after the initial cooler or cold, I'd say. Finally, we'll take a look at the ECM, which is probably a more reliable one. Obviously the northeasterly, and then the low clears. It's not as deep on the GFS. I mean, as GFS or GEM, but it still would bring some heavy rain to the south for sure. As it clears away, the northerly approaches. Obviously, this is going 24 hours because it's not fully out yet, but you get the general idea. This ridge builds in back to the westerlies. This low pressure is further south with the ECM, so brings more wet and windy weather to Scotland before clearing. Ireland before clearing through. Northern Ireland, that is. It looks a bit more deep on this run as well, so strong winds again. Obviously, this will clear on a northwest southeast alignment, so it would go like this straight across the country. Yeah, you can see there, and it probably would bring a bout of rain to most of K anyway. For the westerlies, set back in, and there's another low ready to dive in, bringing up them southwesterly winds though, so it shouldn't be too bad temperature deviation. slightly above average. Nothing too significant, but as again, beginning of October does look mixed. You'll see this emphasised on diagram in a minute. So this is the general diagram for London. This comprises 32 of the runs in the model, 33 to be exact, but that also includes the average. As you can see, temperatures are above average at the moment, not particularly so, but they are going to drop a little bit as that initial northerly drops in, and then there's a plunge here, plunge with the Northerlies, which brings the temperatures down to about -2. This is for London, by the way, so obviously southern location, not going to be as cool at the surface or as cold at the surface. There, so it comes cooler, and then the temperatures slowly rise up, but still below average, and then there's another drop here, which is only recently being picked up by the models. There could be another brief shot of cooler winds when that low clears away. And after that, generally average, but there is a lot of scatter, some warm runs, some cool runs, and that sort of continues for the remaining part of the run. So October does still look pretty mixed. As you can see, the GFS operational, that's that big green line, is oscillating above and below average, like I said. So nothing too significant there. If we move up to Birmingham, pretty central location, pretty similar pattern. Obviously, that initial shot of cooler air is a little bit cooler than obviously on London showed, but that drop is only barely anything more at 850 HPA. That's 850 meters above sea level, 1500 meters, sorry, above sea level, is what these temperatures are showing. So obviously it's not going to be -2 at the surface, it'll be like 10 degrees at the surface and like 4 overnight or something. So there is a risk of frost, especially for the north of England anyway, around the 27th, 28th, but it quickly picks up anyway. And then another shot of cooler air here again, and again remaining around average. So at the end of the day, coming up at the end of this week, it's going to drop cooler. It might even feel a bit cold in the northerly wind. It could be wintry showers over the Scottish mountains and general wet weather for K. After that, temperatures do pick up, but not above average until October. It looks like there will be warm and cooler interludes, according to the GFS anyway. So if you did enjoy this video and you found it helpful and useful, then please do drop a like and subscribe to my channel, because I will be uploading regular weather videos now with this new camera and this new setup I've got. If you've got any advice, please do let me know. And if you want to see any sort of content on weather, so like updates, winter updates, 2025 in an outlook, I don't know, and then please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next weather video. Bye bye.